Hey everyone, morning, morning, morning. This is Trend Follower this side, and it's that time of the week. We'll plan for this week. What are the trade areas, trade zones that I am focusing on, the names that I'm focusing on, and let's make it a great trading week. So before we start, as always, we will look at the news and currency strength. So let's start with currency strength first, because that one is really important to know. So last week, um, by the end of the week, we got some strange signals. So we got on daily, this is on daily chart, that Australian dollar has started acting weak and Canadian dollar has started acting strong with like 70 points, but JPY has started acting strong. And I want to talk about it a little bit uh, later in the video, because there is something fishy going according to me. So that's why I will bring it up. But to to recap, JPY Canadian dollar strong, Australian dollar weak, GBP weak, right? On weekly, there's no new signal. It's been a while, to be honest. It's kind of strange, but it is what it is. So, dollar has been acting strong, nothing new there. Uh, and I would like to also share open the dollar chart later in the video, so that you see what I saw last week and something for this week. So after that, let's look at news. I think what I can see, the most important news would be USD, because it has PPI and CPI both, right? So USD would be important, which means like almost every other currency can get affected, but mainly USD. And then Australian dollar, that's the other one, and then GBP. I should say GBP would be above Australian dollar in terms of the importance of news, because GBP has this CPI also, right? So USD, GBP, Australian dollar. Good thing we have got signals on that. Okay. Uh, Before we start, I want to bring up JPY, because why I'm like JPY did give a strong signal, right? So JPY, why I'm not very confident about playing the downside, at least for now, is there are some zones where I think it can work, but why I'm not feeling like the trend is down, so I think it can definitely work. Uh, but I feel because of this kind of candle, I think it should bounce back here, something like this before going down. I think this move is very strong. So to just play reversal is kind of not my plan right now. So I'm thinking that it should first bounce. So what I was seeing was everywhere there is a good demand. Like in here, it can bounce from here. In here, it can bounce from here. CAD I thought it can bounce from here. Like, I'm not making this up. These are legit good demands in good areas. Euro JPY, it can bounce from here. GBP JPY, I don't think it will bounce from here, but if it comes here, then yes. So, like, point being, like CHF JPY, right? Look at this. This is a great demand, right? So it can bounce from here. So can it go all the way here? I don't know. It can maybe come till here or here, right? So right now, I think the initial part of the week would be JPY bounce. That's what I am thinking on that. JPY also has a bank holiday on Sunday. I really feel like in the initial part of the week, JPY can start. Uh, the initial start of the week would be JPY bounce, and then maybe it will follow the trend. What I don't like in any of these is, like, if you look at monthly, for example, CHF JPY, right? So we didn't have like a bullish engulfing on monthly, but this is a good zone. GBP JPY, it was a bullish engulfing, right? Euro JPY, this is a great zone for a bounce. USD JPY, this little bit, CAD JPY. We had a bullish engulfing, then a bullish engulfing on monthly. We are in that zone. NZDCAD, this is the one we can short if we really want to, or JPY similarly. So like it's very tough to say. I think the probability why JPY should bounce in the start of the week. But okay, anyway, coming back to this, right? So JPY was acting strong and CAD was acting strong and USD has been acting strong, right? News-wise, we have AUD, GBP and GBP and USD. So our first priority that I see is uh, NZDCAD, right? I think it's a great setup. Uh, so there are two areas that I am interested in, uh, which is, let me delete this. One is on weekly chart, if you see this area. Now, what is so good about this area? So you see there's a long wick here and this area. So whenever price bounces, this area eventually will attract it. I think this will act like liquidity zone. I should point out, will it happen this way? I don't know, but like this area will attract it. Now, there are, if you look at 8 hour, if you look at data, there's a good supply also, yeah, which starts from here, right? So I think this is a great area where, anywhere in this zone, price can come and come back here before going up or continuing down. So for me, this is a great zone. The second zone is within this area, just above the weekly low, which is this area. And the reason I say that is firstly, it's about the weekly, but the good thing about this one is if you look at 8 hour, the structure is very good. So there's confluence of two 8 hour zone. So I think it can come here and fall down too. The only thing I would like to see, which I always like to say, is can we get some consolidation here before coming here? Will that happen or not? I don't know. But that's the trade I'm looking at. Again, NZD, GB or odd had that weak signal, so we can trust it. We can imagine this coming, that maybe this wants to come in this zone. Exact similar trade is AUDCAD, exact similar. So on weekly also, this is a great setup. Same exact similar order here, right? It will get attracted and eventually it should at least come back to this zone. You take your 2 hour and get out. On daily, this is kind of iffy because it's level on top of level. Like, for example, let's say this is one supply on daily, right? Then this is another supply, right? And if you just want to take the prefer version, then this is another, right? You may say this is maybe a supply, right? Uh, on loader. So like there is kind of level on top of levels. So it's kind of tough which one to choose. But on 8 hour, if you look at it, it's the same pattern. So I really like this pattern, and I think it would be really tough for it to break this. If it breaks it, right? And let's say we come here, then I would assume this acts like support, but I still feel like because of the weekly down close and everything, at least it should test back this region, right? Or had has given a signal, NVIDIA has given a signal, CAD has been strong. So I think this is my number one trade for this week because of how clear it is. Now, the number two trade is on CHF pairs, right? You can choose any CHF pairs and you will be able to see that the probability of bounce is higher. So on we discussed this one last week. This one is a little risky. I should move it to section this one because of how like JPY has given the strong signal. But I believe I thought about this a lot. If you look at monthly on all these pairs, except odd, I guess, then this can act, we're so below, so this area can act like a potential weekly demand, right? Because we had a up close candle also. So I do believe that we can bounce from here. I do believe that it is less probable than the other. Uh, then let's look at USD JPY. So USD JPY, this is again a little bit risky, so I can move it here, which is if you follow ICT, this is kind of a FVG bounce, right? How it caused this bullish engulfing on weekly, right, is my point, and then equal highs. Both the JPY and CHF, there are so many pairs which have equal highs above and below that it's kind of you're in a iffy zone. So I'm trying to see which one has a clear chart. So I like this chart because you have a bullish engulfing here. And if you look at JPY uh, futures chart, right, you have a bearish engulfing. So now, let's say the week starts and you go above this area, right? Uh, or ma- at least above this area. Then I will not, let's say, play USD JPY because then what can happen is this. But if you can never go above this area, that means this is gonna happen, right? So if I want to play USD JPY long, I never want to see this is zone broken. I never want to see here price being held, right? So that's the plan for JPY. So according to that, I will trade USD JPY. So that's the one I'm thinking. Odd CHF, as I said, we discussed in the previous video. This can be a good zone that I'm thinking. The next pair I want to talk about is GBP pairs. And the reason I want to talk about GBP pairs, especially GBP NZD and GBP odd, is because every GBP pair almost looks like it wants to bounce. Especially and odd and NZD are the two pairs where the trend is clearly out, right? So what I mean by that, look at this weekly trade up. Now you have a weekly demand also here with support, right? So I do think this is a great zone for a bounce. Uh, so I would like to think with GBP news happening, there's an odd news happening. We are looking for some kind of reversal here. Uh, so that would be a good trade. And then let's talk about GBP odd. So with GBP odd also, the reason I brought this up is not like I want to trade this name in particular. I like NZD more, but here again, this was a demand, daily demand, which acted like this whole move, caused this whole move. So I believe anywhere here can cause this also. So the reason I have these names here is to show how all the GBP or GBP NZD are both of these are in great support areas on weekly time frame. So I think the probability of bounces here is good. So that's why I like this chart also. The next chart is, yeah, so CAD CHF and USD CHF. So this is what I was saying. Like I think the market wants this as a draw of liquidity. It's a slight risky trade. That's why it's in this section, which is, I can rename it second priority. Why? Because we are a little extended here. So just to be safe, right? But the reason I like this is because of this USD DXY chart. So firstly, this was a fair value gap where it just touched and went up. So I do think I should have marked equal highs here. So when it comes down, it will be attracted by this area. But right now the trend is clearly up. So as long as this zone is held, right, I think we can go up. In this case, what can happen is ah, back. So this daily supply demand is a good region, right? So I would expect something like this, right? And CAD CHF is very similar weekly level and all. Now, why do I say it's risky? Let's zoom out. Look where it got rejected before. Look where it is right now. So that's why it's in the second priority because how risky it is. But the thing with CHF pairs is basically every CHF is shouting for a bounce. So in the past, USD and CAD have acted strong. So I'm able to trust these uh more than anything else. So I would like to say that this is again one where like I will also show you 12 hours, right? There's 12 hours demand also. So can it go down like this? Yes, but I do think it first will go up before going down. So that's CHF pairs for you. And that's it. These are something I was thinking about, but I don't think like for me, these are most first priority. This one is most clean, where I do understand there are two cases. If you want the most highest probability, then this is the one, right? Like in this zone. If you want to scalp or want a little low probability than this one. So these two are the ones where my confidence is 100%. They're clean setups. So that's why these have been put here. In this, I do believe some of these are damn clean. They are just risky because of the trend a little bit, but I do feel that this can be a bottoming candle because where we are, I would expect if, let's say, for example, this gets bounced, I would expect at least this to come in this zone, right? And ideally, there's equal high here, grab liquidity and then maybe go down or go up. I don't know. But I want to capture something like this. Okay. So yeah, those are my trades for this week. I hope you have a great trading session. I hope this video helped. Always open to feedback. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. That's all I ask, and I will continue doing this. Thanks, guys. Have a good trading week.